Memory problems? Try this to reverse forgetfulness and senior moments. Fast. Eggs are good for your brain, right? Wrong. Actually, after 50 eggs could be destroying your memory if you're eating them at the wrong time of day. Think of it like this. Your brain is like a dry kitchen sponge sitting in your sink at 7 a.m. But your morning stress hormones, they're like thick saran wrap that someone stretched tight over that sponge. So when you crack those eggs into the pan for breakfast, it's like trying to pour orange juice onto a sponge that's sealed in plastic. The liquid just pools on top and runs right down the drain. Even worse, your brain cells are sitting there like hungry kids at the breakfast table, waiting for their brain food. But when nothing gets through that stress hormone barrier, they start getting desperate. So desperate, in fact, that they literally start eating your memory cells for energy. It's like your brain is so starved for nutrients that it starts consuming the very parts you need to remember where you put your car keys. So if you're cracking eggs at 7 a.m. thinking you're doing your brain a favor, that's the one adjustment I'd ask you to make. Switch them to 6 p.m. when your brain is like a completely dry sponge again, ready to soak up every single memory boosting nutrient. Now, that egg timing trick alone will help. But if you really want to see what's possible when you give your brain exactly what it needs, take a look at these two brain scans. Both are glowing bright, strong, and healthy. But one belongs to a 24-year-old college student and the other to a 92-year-old grandmother who can still beat her grandkids at Scrabble. So what's her secret? She does one simple morning habit that scientists say literally makes her brain cells behave like they're 70 years younger. But how is that even possible? Well, it all comes down to neutralizing a toxic protein that's been secretly destroying American brains for decades. This toxic protein is the real reason we now have the highest dementia rates in 50 years. But here's the breakthrough. After 17 years of classified research, NASA scientists figured out how to stop this toxic protein with a simple 30-second morning habit. And unlike those expensive supplements that just mask the symptoms, this method actually eliminates the root cause and lets your brain rebuild itself with fresh, young cells. That's why people who've tried everything else are finally getting their sharp minds back. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal exactly what this protein is, where it's hiding, and the one simple habit that can flush it out from your brain. Hi, my name is Nathan Roberts. I'm a former NASA and U.S. Army brain specialist. And if you think this sounds like another one of those miracle cures, I totally get it. I didn't believe it either when my colleagues first told me about this method. But after I dug into the classified research and saw study after study proving it works, I realized this is the real deal for getting your memory back. And trust me, after spending years working with astronauts and soldiers who needed peak mental performance under extreme conditions, I've seen every snake oil solution and empty promise out there. So if you're tired of feeling like you're losing your mind, if you hate asking, what did I come in here for, every time you walk into a room, if you forget people's names and repeat the same story twice in one conversation, if you're worried your kids are starting to think something's really wrong, or if you're scared of your future, then stick with me for just a few more minutes, because I'm about to show you how this simple method can give you back the sharp mind you had 10, 15, even 20 years ago, whether you're dealing with occasional senior moments or more serious memory problems. This works the same way it's already worked for thousands of regular folks just like you. Take Margaret from Phoenix, who says,
I watched Nathan's presentation 3 times because I couldn't believe how simple this was. He breaks down the science so clearly that even I could understand it. Within days of following what he showed me, I went from forgetting my grandson's name to remembering every detail of his baseball games.
Or Robert from Dallas.
My wife used to finish my sentences because I'd lose my train of thought. But after this video from Dr. Nathan, she jokes that I remember things better than she does. It's like getting my old brain back.
These people wake up feeling like their old selves again because they know when they start their day, they're going to remember where they put their keys. They watch themselves following every word of their favorite television shows, remembering their doctor's appointments without writing them down. Their minds feel clear instead of fog. Their spouses or wives stop giving them those worried looks and start bragging to friends about their incredible memory. Sometimes they even hear comments like, how do you remember all that stuff? They just smile, knowing their secret. But here's the best part. These people stop lying awake at night terrified they're going to forget their own children's names someday. Instead of worrying about ending up in a nursing home, they know they can stay independent and sharp for decades to come and live with confidence instead of fear about their future. Now, look, I know this probably sounds too good to be true, but once you understand how your brain actually works, this will all make perfect sense. So stick with me for just a few more minutes and I'll reveal the healthy breakfast habit that's actually feeding the toxic protein in your brain right now. Harvard researchers are calling this the #1 memory killer, but Big Food spent $200 million to bury the study. Why Alzheimer's didn't exist before 1906 and the toxic household invention that's been slowly poisoning American brains for over a century. You touched it this morning. The 30 30-second morning habit that literally forces your brain to eat its own damaged cells and replace them with young ones. Neuroscientists say this is like time travel for your mind. But before we get to that, I need to warn you, you need to watch this video now and not put it off until later. The truth is that the memory care industry doesn't want you to know this information. They're terrified that once you discover how powerful and simple this method is, you'll never want to spend thousands on brain training programs, expensive memory supplements, or even worse for them, you won't need their costly memory care facility. After all, why would you want any of that? When you can have a brain that's already sharp as a tack, this could cost them billions and billions of dollars in profits. So I can't guarantee how long this presentation will stay available, and that's why I recommend you watch this presentation to the end. Plus, here's my personal guarantee to you. If you watch this entire presentation and don't feel completely confident that you understand exactly how to neutralize this toxic protein, or if the method I demonstrate doesn't seem simple enough for you to start tomorrow morning, I'll personally send you a one-on-one video walkthrough where I'll answer your specific questions and make sure you get it right. That's how confident I am that this presentation will give you everything you need to start rebuilding your memory immediately. But first, let me introduce myself properly. My name is Nathan Roberts. I'm a former U.S. Army doc specialized in brain health and former NASA scientist. For over 18 years, I've dedicated my life to one thing: understanding how our brain works. In almost 2 decades of practice, I've treated more than 15,000 patients, given talks around the world, and developed nutritional formulas for some of the most demanding institutions in the world, including NASA itself. And after long years on this journey, I thought I had seen it all. But you know what gets me? Watching our country get hit by a silent epidemic that's literally stealing the memories of the people we love most and forcing them to accept that they're going to spend their golden years without even remembering who they are. Just check out these numbers. Age-related memory loss has become the biggest health threat in our country, with 40 million people suffering right now and terrifying projections of 150 million in the coming years. If you're planning to live to 85, I got to tell you something that's going to blow your mind. Your odds of developing serious memory issues are 50%. That's right. 1 out of every 2 people. It's like flipping a coin with your own future. It was because of this reality that I made a big decision. I decided to focus exclusively on finding real, safe, and scientifically backed solutions to this problem. And that's why I took the offer to become research director at NeuroHealth Labs. NeuroHealth is a company focused on creating natural, affordable, and proven solutions to protect the brain and restore people's memory based on the only thing that actually works: science. And even after all these years working with brain health, something still bugged me big time. Even helping thousands of people get back their memory, focus, and mental clarity, I noticed that in the worst cases of memory loss and cognitive decline, the results were never really good enough. And because of this, a lot of these folks ended up stuck on heavy-duty meds that just cover up the symptoms without ever actually fixing the problem for good. But today I'm here to tell you that there is hope. And it all started when the most important person in my life needed my help. A few years ago, my wife Emily came into my office in desperation. She looked distressed, and you could tell she was trying not to cry. And with her voice choked up, she told me that a few weeks earlier, she was at the grocery store shopping like she always did. But when it came time to pay, something weird happened. She couldn't remember her own card PIN. She said she stood there for 5 minutes in line, trying every combination that came to mind, but nothing worked. On top of that, she said she was mortified when the people in line started sighing heavily and could only think that they thought she was losing it. At first, she thought it was just a moment of distraction or something temporary, but then days went by and these episodes started getting worse. She began forgetting simple things like where she put her keys, the names of people close to us, even important dates like our wedding anniversary. And it was at that moment that she said something I'll never forget. "Nathan, I'm scared of losing my memory forever. I can't trust my own mind anymore. I don't know if I'm going to forget something important again. I can't stand living like this anymore." Right then, I tried to calm her down, said it was just a rough patch, that things would get better. But deep down, I knew it wasn't that simple. Because even though memory loss isn't something that immediately threatens your life, it can completely destroy your independence and confidence. And that can definitely turn your life into a real nightmare. After all, you lose the ability to take care of yourself, to feel confident. You even lose the joy of doing simple daily things. So I went all out to help my wife, and since I'm a researcher and specialist in this area, I started recommending various treatments and supplements for her. So over the next 6 months, we followed the standard protocol and tried everything to fight forgetfulness and dementia symptoms. She took Memantine, Namenda, Exelon, Aricept, expensive supplements like Prevagen, did mental exercises every day, even bought apps that promised to improve memory. I even adjusted the dosage and combinations based on my experience with thousands of patients. Sure, all of this helped a little bit, but very little. She still had memory lapses, lost focus in the middle of conversations, and the anxiety about forgetting something important wouldn't go away. She even thought about taking heavier, more aggressive medications, but the side effects were scary. Dizziness, mental confusion, anxiety. Not to mention they cost thousands of dollars a month, and worse. Many people who take these medications don't get better, some even get worse. Even with all my experience, nothing was working. She was only 52 years old, but was already living like she was over 80. But the last straw came on a Saturday afternoon when something terrible almost happened. We were watching our little grandson Ben, who was only 2 years old. Emily was getting his bath ready when suddenly the phone rang. She stepped out of the bathroom real quick to answer it and completely forgot about Ben alone in the bathtub with the faucet running. Luckily, I got home right at that moment. When I walked into the bathroom, Ben was sitting there playing with his rubber duckies, not realizing the danger, but the water was almost overflowing. In 2 more minutes, that bathtub would have been dangerously full. Right then, Emily's heart almost stopped. At the end of the day, when we were going to bed, she turned to me and said, "Nathan, I almost put Ben's life at risk. I can't trust myself anymore. I can't stand living like this anymore. What if something worse happens next time?" At that moment, I realized that my wife wasn't just dealing with memory lapses. She was falling into deep depression and was afraid of completely losing her independence. And honestly, I couldn't stand watching the woman I love go through that anymore. It was at that exact moment that I made a decision. I was going to find a definitive solution for my wife's memory loss. After all, I was a researcher specialized in brain health, and if there was someone who could find an answer to this, that someone was me. And so I started my research, and after a few weeks, I discovered a study from the University of Washington that was practically buried by the pharmaceutical industry. A study that finally revealed what the real cause of memory loss is and why nothing that Emily was doing worked. But you know why you've never heard about this discovery? Because corrupt politicians, the pharmaceutical industry, and food manufacturers are working together to hide the truth about these natural remedies. Actually, an important senator is fighting to ban one of the most powerful brain nutrients I'm going to show you today. They don't want you to know about natural remedies because they can't profit from them. But that changes today because, as I'm going to explain to you right now, contrary to what everyone says, age-related memory problems don't just happen because of age or genetics, but because of something called neuronal renewal, a fancy name that scientists use for the birth of new neurons. This might sound weird, but let me explain and you'll understand everything, so pay close attention. Look, every day your brain comes into contact with oxidative stress, pollution, toxins from processed foods. And this stuff gradually inflames your brain from the inside and destroys the neurons and synapses that keep your memories working. You can imagine that if your brain were an electrical grid, the neurons would be the transformers and the synapses would be the cables. And what happens when you remove the transformers and cables from an electrical grid? That's right, everything goes dark. That's exactly what happens in your brain when inflammation destroys neurons and their connections. Without these structures that make your memory work properly, those embarrassing moments start happening. You forget the name of the neighbor you've known for years. You go to the grocery store and can't remember what you went to buy. And you get that fear that people will notice you're getting senile. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine by Professor Dr. George Perry from the University of Texas proved that oxidative stress is the main culprit behind synaptic dysfunction and brain neuron death. But if you don't need a doctor convincing you this is true, just leave an iron key in your backyard for a few weeks. It's going to rust, corrode, and literally fall apart because oxygen is oxidizing the metal. That's exactly what oxidative stress does to your neurons. Now, our brain isn't stupid. That's why it has a defense mechanism against these attacks called neuronal renewal. Here's how it works. Whenever your neurons get damaged and die from getting beaten up by toxins and oxidative stress, your brain creates new neurons and rebuilds the lost connections. It literally gives you brand new neurons. Amazing, right? Now, when we're kids, this renewal happens super fast, at rocket speed. This happens because a child's brain is in full development. It needs to create millions of new connections every day to learn to walk, talk, recognize faces. So whenever their connections start weakening, the brain already creates new neurons to replace them. And that's why you never see a kid with dementia or Alzheimer's. But as you get older, this renewal loses speed, and it goes from a fast rocket to a really slow turtle. And then you know what happens? Simple. Without this fast renewal, your brain gets attacked 24 hours a day by oxidative stress. In no time, they're going to destroy your neurons and break your synapses. And since your brain can't create new neurons at the right speed anymore, the damaged neurons start piling up in your brain. And then your memory gets weak, slow, and full of confusion. Up to this point, it's all good. This was something anyone in neuroscience knows, but here's the big breakthrough that changed everything. Until recently, nobody knew why this neuronal renewal lost speed in the first place, much less what to do to get it back to normal. And like all revolutionary discoveries in science, this all happened by accident. Let me tell you, in 2008, scientists at the University of Washington were studying early onset Alzheimer's disease, an even more devastating form of the disease that attacks people between 30 and 50 years old. Unlike regular Alzheimer's that shows up after 65, this terrible disease destroys the brain's ability to create new neurons. And as you already know, if the brain can't create new neurons, the environment eats up all your brain neurons and synapses, and then your memory completely collapses. That's why, even being relatively young, patients with this condition get severe memory lapses, mental confusion, and completely lose their ability to concentrate. Just so you get how terrible this condition is, 40-year-olds can't remember their own children's names or how to get home and end up being completely dependent on their families. There are several cases worldwide of this disease, and seeing a young, apparently healthy person completely lose their memory is a devastating scene. So in trying to understand and find a cure for these people, the scientists decided to analyze the brains of patients with early Alzheimer's and compare them with the brains of healthy people the same age. And what the researchers discovered was that the patients' brains were completely clogged with a toxic protein called beta amyloid, while the brains of healthy people had very low levels of beta amyloid. And it was at this historic moment that researchers discovered that what really makes you lose speed in neuronal renewal is the buildup of this toxic protein, beta amyloid, in your brain. This is because it was proven that beta amyloid blocks the birth of new neurons, inflames your brain, and you lose the ability to remember and form new memories. So then Dr. Arvind Sharma and his team of Indian researchers from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, AIIMS, started intensive research to fight beta amyloid. AIIMS is considered the Harvard of medicine in India. That's where the country's brightest doctors and researchers come from. After all, they knew very well that if they could reduce beta amyloid in people over 50, they would speed up neuronal renewal and then create the first memory solution that works directly on the cause of the problem. And that replaces the damaged neurons in your brain with brand new neurons. They had many challenges, but after 3 years of research, they finally found a method capable of inhibiting this toxic protein and bringing back the focus you had 20, 30, 40, and in some cases even 50 years ago. The discovery came when Dr. Sharma heard about something fascinating. Tibetan monks who lived to 100 years old had iron memories and could recite thousands of pages of ancient scriptures. So, when he decided to investigate these monks' routine more deeply, he discovered that they consumed daily 5 minutes before meditations an Asian herb called Bacopa monnieri. And it's no wonder there's the saying elephant memory, because elephants also consume this same plant in nature and are famous for never forgetting anything. That's why they claim that this ancestral herb was capable of cleansing the mind of impurities and preparing the brain for long hours of deep concentration. For centuries, this tradition was passed from master to disciple, always with the same promise: keeping the mind young and memory sharp until the end of life. And the good news is, this isn't just superstition, because when researchers studied this plant in the laboratory, they discovered that it contains a compound called bacosides, a powerful natural antioxidant that can inhibit the production of beta amyloid protein. In fact, dozens of studies confirm that bacosides reduce oxidative stress in the brain, inhibit the formation of toxic protein, and protect neurons against environmental attacks. No wonder ancient monks, known for their extraordinary memorization ability, have been using Bacopa for thousands of years. In summary, it works like a real brain insurance against forgetfulness, lack of attention, and against dementia. Now you're probably thinking, so I just need to buy Bacopa anywhere and that's it. But think about it. When you have the flu, you don't spend all day eating oranges to replace vitamin C, right? You take a concentrated vitamin C pill. With Bacopa, it's the same thing. All the studies that prove these incredible results use super concentrated extracts, but these extracts had two serious problems. First, low absorption by the body. So even taking the right dose, a large part was eliminated without taking effect. Second, they degraded quickly, losing potency in just a few months. That's why Dr. Sharma spent years developing a special form that the body absorbs better and that maintains stable potency for much longer. And finally, in 2019, after a lot of effort and hundreds of tests, he finally managed to create a revolutionary formula. They decided to call this discovery Bacognize. And believe me, in my 15 years as a researcher in this area, I've never seen anything so powerful that works as fast as this. And the secret behind this efficiency is in how he solved these two problems. To reach the brain, compounds need to pass through a protective barrier that works like an ultra-strict filter, blocking 99% of substances. The old extracts had molecules that were too big, like trying to push a soccer ball through a keyhole. That's why Dr. Sharma developed a hydrolyzed formula with molecules tanks smaller that can trick this barrier and go straight to the brain. And the result of this is simple. While other supplements have only 10% absorption, Bacognize has 95%, almost 10 times more potent. Amazing, right? But there's more. Besides being the only compound capable of neutralizing the toxic beta-amyloid protein by up to 87%, Bacognize also directly stimulates the creation of new neurons. It not only fights the protein that kills your neurons, but also boosts the production of new and resistant neurons. For your brain, this is like breathing pure air, removing all toxins and oxygenating every cell. That's why Bacognize is the closest thing we have to a miracle for bringing youth back to the brain. And it works fast, very fast. You feel an instant result when using the Bacozine extract, which lasts about 6 hours. However, all studies indicate that the more you use it, the less beta amyloid you'll have. And the faster your body will replace lost neurons, just so you get an idea of how powerful it is. A study was conducted with concentrated Bacozine extract with a group of people between 50 and 70 years old. And after just 12 weeks, the results were jaw-dropping. People who used concentrated Bacozine extract improved memory and concentration by 78%. And people who used a regular supplement had no change at all. But beyond scientific studies, the biggest proof that this Asian herb extract is the closest thing we have to a fountain of mental youth are simply the reports from people who are using it. Those who use it can remember names and faces easily. They can also concentrate for hours without that scattered and confused mind. It improves reasoning speed, and it can even increase mental processing speed, making you think and respond more quickly in any situation. Because of all these incredible benefits, Bacognize won the gold medal in innovation at the world's largest neuroscience convention. And more than that, Dr. Arvind Sharma was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2024 thanks to his revolutionary discovery about beta amyloid and the development of Bacognize extract. Considered the greatest advance in neuroscience in recent decades, as you can see, Bacognize is the key for you to finally reverse memory loss and cognitive decline because it inhibits beta amyloid, the toxic protein that blocks neuronal renewal. And by doing this, it speeds up the creation of new neurons and puts brand new connections in your brain. That's why after reading all of Dr. Arvind Sharma's research, I was desperate to find Bacognize for my wife Emily, and I started looking in pharmacies, online, and everywhere because I knew that as soon as she started using Bacognize every day, she would reverse cognitive decline and recover her mental independence. But even searching a lot, I couldn't find anything that's really effective here in the United States. The few supplements that contain Bacopa monnieri aren't at the study dosage, which is at least 300 milligrams of Bacognize per day. Actually, far from it. Many of these products have only 50 milligrams of regular Bacopa, a microscopic fraction of what actually fights cognitive decline. I don't know why they do this in the first place. The only thing I can think of is that they want to save money on manufacturing while they can still profit by advertising a product that contains Bacopa monnieri, but that actually won't restore your memory. So I decided to create my own supplement with Bacognize and give it to my wife. After all, that's exactly my job, and I even have a lab available to do the testing. So I contacted the extract manufacturers there in India, bought a sample of the product, and started working on something special right here in the United States. My goal was create the first supplement that inhibits beta amyloid and reverses memory loss. Ensure that the dosage of active ingredients is what's recommended by scientific studies. Finally, test the formula with my wife. Look, it wasn't easy. not at all. I had to work really hard. I tested many formulas, and after a few months of work, I finally found a stable formula ready for use. Then I gave the formula to my wife, Emily, and she started using it every day, 2 capsules a day. Look, what happened next is nothing short of a miracle. Check out what she told me after a few weeks.
Within just a couple of days, I felt something shifting. It started subtly. I wasn't pausing mid-sentence to search for words anymore. Then it got even better. Conversations became effortless again. Suddenly, I was recalling friends I hadn't thought of in decades, clearly picturing their faces and hearing their laughter. Even memories of childhood neighbors and teachers flooded back, complete with names and places. It felt like someone had finally cleared away the fog in my mind. I never imagined something so simple could bring back such clarity.
My wife, Emily, felt the first results in memory lapses, but little by little, the mental confusion started disappearing too. And after 6 weeks using the formula, her transformation was so impressive that people she knew started noticing the difference. Neighbors, family members, friends, everyone was asking, what happened to Emily? She's completely different. This caught the attention of my colleagues too, who started recommending me to other people. In just a few days, several researchers started calling me. They sent me emails, and some even came to my lab, all wanting to know how I had managed to recover her memory. So I used the rest of the Bacognize extract I had bought to make more, and gave it to some colleagues to test with their family members who also suffered from memory loss. And to my surprise, 100% of the people who tested it had significant improvements in memory. 100% of people say they were able to recover their mental independence, and that they are, for the first time in years, feeling capable of taking care of themselves again. They're going back to driving with confidence, they're going back to managing their own finances, and they're able to live their lives without constantly depending on other people. But unfortunately, when they asked me for more, I didn't have any more Bacognize to make the formula. Besides that, Bacognize is very hard to get. I only had access because of my contacts in the industry. But since I realized the great demand for this product, I decided to convince the owners of NeuroHealth Labs to create a Bacognize-based supplement with the same formula that brought back my wife's sharp mind and guaranteed her mental independence. And finally, after many negotiations with suppliers, I created something I'm proud of, and I decided to call this formula Memory Lift. This supplement was created to fight beta amyloid, to slow the progression of dementia and age-related memory problems, accelerate the birth of new neurons so your brain goes back in time and works like it did 10, 20, or 30 years ago. And finally, stimulate the production of new neural connections so you feel mentally young, confident, and independent. It's produced right here in the United States in an FDA-approved facility certified by Good Manufacturing Practices, GMP. Each batch goes through rigorous third-party testing to ensure purity, potency, and absence of contaminants. It's GMO-free, contains no artificial stimulants, and therefore doesn't cause dependency. Now, despite being new, NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift is already a success, and thousands of people are recovering their mental independence with this innovative formula, all because of the word-of-mouth marketing that customers do for each other. And even with people of all ages using it, from 45 to 85 years old, the testimonials I've been receiving from all of them are incredible.
Memory Lift has genuinely made life easier for me. Before, I'd stand at the fridge wondering what I needed, or I'd repeat myself in conversations constantly. Now, I remember grocery lists without writing them down, I keep track of appointments effortlessly, and the embarrassing moments are gone. I feel in control again, and it's been years since I felt this sharp.
Honestly, I was skeptical at first. I thought maybe I was just getting old and memory loss was unavoidable. But Memory Lift surprised me pleasantly. After about a month, I noticed I could recall little details I'd previously given up on. Names, faces, even the names of old songs I loved decades ago were suddenly easy to access again. Life feels fuller now, richer somehow. I couldn't recommend this enough.
I started noticing a real difference within a couple of weeks. I was forgetting where I'd parked my car, or walking into rooms without remembering why I'd entered. It was getting embarrassing. But Memory Lift changed all that. My focus improved dramatically, my thoughts cleared up, and suddenly I was the sharp, confident guy I'd been years ago. It's a tremendous relief.
Actually, many people are having better results than my wife, Emily. And to be honest, I already knew this would happen. That's because for Emily, I gave her a formula that contains only Bacognize, but after seeing all the product's success, I started doing new tests and came up with a new formula with 2 more incredible actives to multiply the formula's results. The first is concentrated ginkgo biloba extract. The extract is the most noble part of this ancient plant, a compound that's worth gold to the neuroscience industry for its ability to improve brain circulation fast. A study done with 60 volunteers from 50 to 75 years old concluded that concentrated ginkgo biloba extract improves concentration and focus just 30 minutes after consumption. These results last up to 8 hours, and the best part is that if you keep using it, the improvement becomes permanent. After 4 weeks, your mind keeps getting sharper and sharper, and you stop having those memory blanks. We also added lipophosphatidylserine, a special type of phosphatidylserine that nourishes neurons from the inside. And when I say special, I'm serious. Most pharmacy phosphatidylserines don't penetrate the blood-brain barrier because they have low bioavailability. In other words, your body can't properly utilize what you're taking. This happens because phosphatidylserine is an oily molecule, and your body is basically made of water. So when you take regular phosphatidylserine, it's like pouring oil into water. It simply doesn't dissolve and can't be absorbed by your body. But lipophosphatidylserine is different. It comes in liposomal form, where each phosphatidylserine molecule is encapsulated in small fat bubbles that your body naturally recognizes. It's like wrapping the oily molecule in a capsule that your intestine knows how to process. Then it can be properly absorbed and reach the brain. And once it gets there, that's when the magic happens. That's because your brain is like a cell phone battery. When it's well charged, it works perfectly with all the power you need. But when you let it discharge, what happens? It gets slow, freezing up, and you can't do anything right. And that's exactly what this compound does for you. It can nourish your neurons from the inside and recharge your mind. Something no pharmacy phosphatidylserine can do. In fact, a study done with lipophosphatidylserine concluded that it strengthens neural connections, and the best part, results appear in just 14 days. Pretty cool, right? And to deliver the final blow, we added purified huperzine A, considered the ancient secret of Chinese monks for having photographic memory. That's because purified huperzine A comes from a plant called Chinese club moss and works as a blocker that prevents the destruction of acetylcholine in the brain. You probably already know, but acetylcholine is the fuel that makes the brain's engine work, and it's responsible for all learning and memory. In other words, when you have little of it, you get confused, forgetful, and can't finish a whole sentence without freezing up. But by combining purified huperzine A with the other 3 ingredients in the formula, you not only recover the mental speed of 20 years ago, but also protect your acetylcholine levels and maintain a razor-sharp memory for much longer. Well, as you can see, NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift is a complete product. We have Bacignize, which fights beta amyloid and speeds up neural communication. Then your brain receives concentrated ginkgo biloba extract, which improves your concentration right away and also long-term. Purified huperzine A, that protects and multiplies your memory neurotransmitter. And to deliver the final blow to forgetfulness and mental confusion, we have lipophosphatidylserine, which penetrates the brain and can strengthen your connections in just 14 days. Now, with all these actives and all the science that proves the results, you must be thinking about how you can get NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift for yourself, and also how to use the product. And look, I'm going to be honest. I wish it were easier for you to have access to our Memory Lift, but the story isn't quite like that. The truth is that NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift is special. It doesn't contain regular ginkgo, basic vitamins, regular phosphatidylserine, or anything you can easily find at a pharmacy. Actually, it contains 4 patented actives validated by science, and because of that, I'm at the mercy of the companies that manufacture these actives. This means that if some of the companies can't sell me the actives, unfortunately I can't manufacture the product. Because of this, I only have a limited number of bottles of my supplement in stock, and the risk of us running out of stock is very high. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about this, and I won't use other lower quality actives in NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift, and I also refuse to do what the supplement industry does and put a small percentage of active in my product just to be able to advertise the actives and profit from you. After all, these actives only work at the recommended dosage. Only then can Bacignize fight beta amyloid and speed up neural communication. Otherwise, it doesn't work. It would be like taking medicine with only 1% of the dose. It has no effect. And worst of all, since NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift ends memory lapses, drastically reduces mental confusion, ends the fear of forgetting important things, and makes you trust your own mind again, My current customers simply don't stop buying the product whenever it comes back in stock. This way, they can keep beta amyloid levels low and neural communication running at full steam. But despite all this, I always reserve a few units of our Memory Lift for new customers because I need to spread this news to as many people as possible. I can't stand the idea of you not being able to trust your own memory anymore. I can't stand the fact that you're afraid of forgetting important things. And I can't stand seeing more and more people losing independence and practically falling into depression. Actually, I want exactly the opposite of all that. I want you to be able to wake up in a few days, do your normal activities, and you realize that you can remember things effortlessly. You'll see the formula working, and every day you wake up, you'll feel confident to face the day because you'll be happy knowing that you are, for the first time in a long time, getting a sharp mind back. Instead of the forgetfulness getting worse, it's going to start disappearing. Mental confusion too. Concentration will get stronger. I want the next time someone talks to you, they notice that you're more present, more alert. I want when you need to remember something important, you remember it right away. And most important of all, I want you to trust your own mind again because you're finally mentally independent again, feeling capable, just like you felt when you were younger. Because of this, in the next few seconds, I'm going to show you how you can get your supply of NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift. But first, let me tell you how you should use our Memory Lift so you have the best possible results. Look, even though you'll already feel an incredible difference 30 minutes after the first dose, it's very important that you use this supplement for at least 30 days. That's because all scientific studies have proven that the longer you use it, the more your memory improves and the less beta amyloid you accumulate. Besides that, since Bacignize is what keeps beta amyloid, the toxic protein, away from your brain, it makes sense for you to make NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift part of your health routine forever. This way, you can always keep your neural communication working perfectly, and thus you're practically protected from cognitive decline. In other words, while all people your age are getting more and more forgetful, you're going to get smarter and smarter. That's why I always recommend to new customers that they stock up for at least 3 months of treatment. And if you really want to guarantee your results, then the 6-month supply is the most recommended option. Besides that, making a small stock in your house protects you against when we don't have more product in our own stock. And like I told you, this happens frequently. Now, if you want to test NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift today, I have a special offer for you. The fact that you've watched this presentation this far shows me that you really want to recover your mental independence. You really want to trust your own memory again. And you also want to ensure that from the moment you start using Memory Lift, you don't have to be afraid of blanking out when you need it most. That's why I'm going to let you test NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift with a results guarantee and also the biggest discount I've ever offered anyone in my life. Here's how it works. NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift is only available on this website. And if you're seeing this video, it shows we still have some bottles available. But please, it's important that you make your decision now and don't leave it for later. That's because NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift is different from everything you've seen and tested in the past. It not only fights beta amyloid, the toxic protein, and speeds up your neural communication so you can have neural connections working like new. It also uses concentrated ginkgo biloba extract to improve your concentration from the first dose and recharges your neurons with lipophosphatidylserines, a turbocharged version of phosphatidylserines. And if you consider how powerful science says these actives are and how hard it is to find these ingredients, you probably understand why the owners of NeuroHealth Labs are telling me I need to charge at least $1,000 for this product. I fight with them and say that's never going to happen. But I also don't think they're completely crazy to suggest a price like that. After all, other premium supplement brands charge up to $500 for their products. A consultation with a specialist neurologist will cost around $300, but for that amount, you only get medications that temporarily cover up the problem and can have serious side effects. Unlike Memory Lift, medications don't fight beta amyloid, and that's why they don't solve the problem at the root. Besides that, if you want a good specialist who really knows what they're doing, the cost can reach up to $1,000. Not to mention you need to go back every 3 months. So in the end, you'll have to spend $4,000 per year, which comes to more than $300 per month. Now, I think consulting a neurologist is important to have a complete diagnosis, but if you have a lot of money and can pay that $300 monthly fee, then please go ahead. However, I believe NeuroHealth Labs' Memory Lift is a much simpler, affordable, and natural solution. So while I even think the $1,000 price is fair, I'm not going to charge that amount from you or anyone. And the reason is quite simple. I didn't create NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift to make money. I created it so people like you can have mental independence again, can trust your own mind at any age without letting time take away your confidence to live. That's my mission, and that's why the more accessible I can make NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift, the better. So even though the normal price of Memory Lift is $200, and only today, here during this presentation, when you click the button below and select your supply, you won't have to pay $200 for a bottle of NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift, actually. Not even $150, and not even $100 right now. You can secure yours for just $49 each if buying the 6-bottle kit. Or if you want start with less, you still get a great discount on our 3-bottle kit, paying only $69 per bottle. And if you want even less just to try it out, you can choose our 2-bottle kit, paying $79 per bottle. Click the button below and secure your supply of Memory Lift right now. But before you order, I need to warn you, the company that produces our Bacignize extract just informed me they're facing a critical shortage of the raw materials. The specific strain of Bacopa monnieri we use only grows in certain regions of India, and climate changes have devastated this year's harvest. They're telling me they can only guarantee our supply for the next 60 days. After that, we may not be able to get the pure potent Bacignize that makes Memory Lift so effective. Other supplement companies are scrambling to secure whatever remaining inventory they can find. Once it's gone, it could be 12 to 18 months before the next harvest is ready. That's why I can only guarantee this pricing for a very limited time. With this supply crisis we're facing, there's no guarantee we'll be able to offer this formula at this price again or at all. Plus, since all the scientific studies prove you need to neutralize this toxic protein for at least 6 months to see permanent results, and since most people order 3, 6, sometimes even 12 bottles at once to protect themselves, I've created the biggest discount in NeuroHealth Labs history. Here's how it works. When you choose a 6-month supply, you'll pay for 3 and get 3 more bottles totally free. In this case, you pay only $49 per bottle, an 84% discount from the original price. This is the lowest price for NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift that's ever been available in history. Now, let me be completely honest about why I'm doing this. 3 years ago, I watched my wife, Emily, struggle with age-related memory loss. So I made a promise I would dedicate my life to making sure no other family goes through what we went through. That's not just my job, it's my mission. It's why I get up every morning. That's why, besides the price. When you choose the 6 bottles package today, you're also getting 3 life-changing bonuses worth $165, absolutely free. The first one is Bonus 1, 7 days to a young mind, normally $49. This is the exact protocol I developed after studying more than 200 studies on neuroplasticity. It was created for people who want to see fast results and boost their brain in just 1 week. You'll discover the non-dominant hand trick used by neurosurgeons to create new neural connections in 72 hours. Why brushing your teeth with your left hand can increase your memory by 23%. Harvard University study. The 2-minute exercise that Olympic athletes do to improve focus before competitions. The Japanese mental Kaizen technique, how small 1% changes per day can completely transform your brain. Now, if you want to protect your brain from the poisons you consume every day without knowing, the second bonus is perfect. Bonus 2, the 12 foods that destroy your memory. Normally $77. I created this guide after discovering that 67% of memory problems come from wrong eating. It will help you eliminate brain poisons from your diet and include superfoods that scientists have proven boost the mind. You'll discover why refined sugar literally shrinks your brain and the tasty alternative that protects it. The cooking oil present in 90% of kitchens that causes brain inflammation. The golden spice that Tibetan monks have used for 3,000 years to have photographic memory. The intelligent smoothie, simple recipe that increases IQ by 15 points in 30 days. And to complete it, since I know many people waste time and money on brain games that don't work, the third bonus will show you exactly which exercises are really worth it. Bonus 3, brain exercises that really work. Normal retail price of $39. After testing more than 50 different mental games with my patients, I selected only the 5 that really work. This guide was created for you to exercise your brain efficiently without wasting time on useless games. You'll discover why 95% of brain training apps are pure deception. and the only two that are worth it. The secret card game that airplane pilots use to keep sharp reflexes at 70 years old, the memorization technique of world champions, how to remember anything in seconds, science proven, the visualization exercise that increases reasoning speed by 40%, NASA proven, and much, much more. Now, I need to be completely transparent with you about something. Every bottle I sell at this discount is money I lose. But since this is a special offer for new customers, I was only able to release 200 units with this discount. And the last time I checked, our stock had only 86 bottles available. Therefore, with the number of people watching this presentation today, it's very likely that stock will run out before the end of the day. So to guarantee your 6-month supply and receive 3 bottles completely free, you need to act now before stocks are gone. Now, when you neutralize that toxic protein, your whole life changes. Picture this. Tomorrow morning, you wake up, and for the first time in years, you remember exactly what you dreamed about. Your mind feels clear, sharp, ready for anything. By breakfast time, when your spouse tells you about their plans for the week, instead of zoning out halfway through, you're really listening, you're asking questions, giving great ideas, you're fully present. They look at you surprised and say, "Wow, you seem so sharp today." Later that day at your grandchild's soccer game, when another parent asks about your grandson, you don't have that awful moment where you forget which kid is yours. Instead, you share stories about how he's improved this season. Remember specific plays, exact moments, those proud grandparent memories you thought were gone forever. Within weeks, your kids stop having those worried talks behind your back. Instead, they start calling you for advice on their marriages, their jobs, their kids. They trust your wisdom and your sharp mind. This is your life when your memory works like it should. On the other hand, if you do nothing, fast forward 6 months, you're standing in your kitchen staring at the coffee maker, you completely forget how to use the machine you've used every morning for 20 years. Your spouse finds you there, confused and upset, and you can see that look of worry cross their face again. 18 months down the road, your doctor uses words like serious memory loss. Your family sits beside you, trying to understand what this means for your future, and that's when you become completely dependent. Someone else handles your money, makes your choices, picks what you eat and when you sleep, which means the person you used to be feels like a far-off memory. And the worst part, in those brief, clear moments, you'll remember this exact talk, this exact moment. You'll remember having the chance to stop all of this, the chance to fight back, the chance to save yourself for less than you spend on food in a week, but you waited. Don't let that be your story. Click the button below right now and choose your 6-month supply. Just to be clear, you won't find NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift anywhere else but here. We don't sell at Walmart, Whole Foods, Amazon, or any pharmacy. This video is literally the only place where you can buy NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift today. Why? Because I don't want middlemen to mark up the price, and also because I want to have total control over the quality and origin of every bottle that leaves our factory. When you buy from big chains, you never know how long the product has been sitting in stock, what conditions it was stored in, or if it's really original. That's why the only way to guarantee you're receiving genuine, fresh Memory Lift at maximum potency is by buying directly through this presentation. Here's exactly what happens when you click the button below. You'll land on a 100% secure checkout page protected by 256-bit SSL encryption, the same security banks use. You'll enter your shipping information and choose your package size. Within minutes, you'll receive a confirmation email with your order details and tracking information. Our logistics team will immediately prepare your Memory Lift supply in our FDA-approved facility and rush it directly to your door with free shipping. Most packages arrive within 3 to 5 business days, discreetly packaged to protect your privacy. The moment your package arrives, you'll take 1 capsule in the morning, preferably on an empty stomach, and begin your journey back to mental independence. You see, while most people invest in 3-month or 6-month supplies, because of the additional bonuses and discounts, regardless of which package you choose, you'll also receive free shipping with all your purchases. So please, click below, choose the 6-bottle supply, and place your order now, while NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift is still available. In the last 3 years, more than 100,000 people have trusted NeuroHealth Labs products, simply for one reason: they give you results. Believe me, you don't get 100,000 customers if you don't have something that's really good. So despite our company's impeccable reputation, I want to make this decision as easy as possible for you. When you choose your package, you'll automatically be protected by the NeuroHealth Labs Unconditional Results Guarantee. Here's how it works. Click the button below and choose your supply right now. When it arrives, Take 1 capsule in the morning, preferably on an empty stomach. I'm sure that the moment you do this and feel with your own mind the incredible results of Memory Lift, you'll never want to be without it again, and you'll become a loyal customer for the rest of your life. But if I'm wrong, and by some miracle you don't like the product, just contact our customer service team at the number you'll find on our official website, and we'll immediately refund every penny you paid for the product. Actually, I'll go even further. If you use NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift and you don't feel your memory getting sharper, don't feel your concentration improving in the first few days, if you don't stop having those memory blanks, if your mind doesn't get more agile and smart, if you don't start trusting your own mind like before, and if you don't recover that mental independence you had when you were younger, then I won't let you keep NeuroHealth Labs Memory Lift, and I'll buy all the bottles back from you for the same amount you paid. Just send me back the bottles you didn't use, and I'll refund every penny. This guarantee lasts for 60 full days. So if you want, you can use Memory Lift for 2 whole months, and only then decide if you really want to keep your supply or not. Like I said, I want you to make this decision based on the results you get. And when I take the risk off your shoulders, I know it becomes much easier for you to decide. So please, go ahead and click the button below now. Choose your supply with confidence, knowing you're 100% protected by this unconditional results guarantee. You have 60 full days to test, experiment, basically do whatever you want with the product. In other words, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. But I want to be completely transparent with you about something. This isn't just about buying a supplement. This is about choosing the direction of the rest of your life. Because what you decide in the next few minutes will determine whether you spend your golden years traveling the world with your spouse or sitting in a memory care facility wondering where the time went. Whether your children call you for advice or whether they have worried conversations about what to do about you. Whether you maintain your independence and dignity or whether you slowly watch both slip away. This is bigger than just memory. This is about who you're going to be for the rest of your life. And that's why you have 2 very different choices in front of you. Choice 1, you can close this page and do nothing. You can go back to your life hoping your memory problems will somehow magically get better on their own. But here's what most people don't get. Your memory won't magically get better on its own. That toxic protein is working right now, this very second. It's destroying more brain cells while we talk. Every day you wait, you lose a little more of yourself. Not just your memory, but your confidence, your freedom, and the respect of people who used to come to you for answers. Your family starts treating you differently. They speak slower, explain things many times, make choices for you because they're worried. And slowly, you start to feel like a burden instead of the strong person you've always been. But the worst part comes when your children will be researching memory care facilities. They'll be spending hundreds of dollars every month, money that could have been their inheritance, because you waited, which brings us to the second and smart option, choice 2. You can click the button below and take control of your memory today. You can neutralize that toxic protein before it steals any more precious memories. And wake up a month from now with your family amazed at how sharp you've become. You can drive confidently anywhere you want to go, manage your own finances, make your own decisions. You can be traveling with your spouse, spoiling your grandchildren, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom and independence. But I can't make this decision for you. I can only show you the way. This is the end of our presentation. You can choose to ignore all the facts I presented to you today. For example, the studies that prove that beta amyloid, the toxic protein, is truly responsible for destroying neuronal regeneration. And this way, you become forgetful, confused, and lose mental independence. And you can also ignore the studies that prove Bacignize fights this toxic protein and thus makes your neural communication return to normal so you recover a young and strong mind again. If you want to do that, look, there's no problem at all. But if you really want to have a sharp and reliable mind again, if you really want to recover your mental independence, click the button below and choose your package right now. Remember, you have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. The choice is yours. Thank you so much for your attention and for watching this presentation to the end. Nathan Roberts, Director of Research at NeuroHealth Labs. You still there? If so, that means you probably still have some questions for me. Let me take a moment to answer some of our most frequently asked questions. It may very well answer yours. The first question is, how big are the capsules? The capsules are comparable to a standard vitamin and are very easy to swallow. Many customers report how much nicer it is to take a normal-sized capsule instead of those big horse pills you commonly see with other brain supplements. Next question. Do I have to refrigerate them? Nope. Memory Lift just needs to be stored in a cool, dry place, although it won't hurt to refrigerate the bottles. You can travel with them or mail them to a friend with no hassles. Question 3, how long before I'll receive my package? Most orders are shipped the next day and often the same day. You can expect to receive your package in 2 to 5 days, depending on how far you are from our warehouse. Question 4, do I have to take it with a meal? You don't need to take Memory Lift with food. In fact, it will probably work better on an empty stomach, preferably in the morning. Next question, how does the Memory Lift formula work to improve my memory and give me mental clarity? Well, there are multiple mechanisms that impact brain health. Memory Lift targets the root cause, beta amyloid protein accumulation, while also supporting neuronal renewal and protecting acetylcholine levels. It's really the combination of Bacignize, concentrated ginkgo biloba extract, lipophosphatidylserine, and purified huperzine A working together across different pathways to optimize brain function and reverse cognitive decline. Another common question we get is, what makes Memory Lift different from other products on the market? Well, it's unique because it's the only supplement that specifically targets beta amyloid protein with clinically proven Bacignize at the exact dosage used in studies. Most other products use regular Bacopa at tiny doses that simply don't work. The Memory Lift formula was engineered with patented science-backed ingredients that work synergistically together. We also do third-party testing to ensure each batch contains no heavy metals or contaminants, something few supplement companies actually do. Next question. What are the benefits of long-term continuous use? Although customers report feeling sharper focus within 30 minutes of the first dose, the available research shows that beta amyloid reduction and neuronal renewal continue to improve the longer you take it. Don't expect your full memory restoration results for 6 to 12 weeks. This is really a long-term investment in your cognitive independence. You can anticipate continued improvement and protection against age-related memory decline over time. The final frequently asked question we get is, can I buy Memory Lift in stores? The answer is absolutely not. We deliver Memory Lift straight to you, allowing us to cut out the middleman, ensure freshness and potency, and save you money. Plus, this way we can guarantee you're getting the genuine pharmaceutical-grade formula, not some watered-down knockoff. Let me be the first to welcome you to the NeuroHealth Labs family and congratulate you on the wise decision to invest in reclaiming your mental independence. Well, I'm sure there will be more questions, but that's it for today. Be sure to place your order below, and we'll see you on the other side. Until then, from all of us at NeuroHealth Labs, we wish you a sharp mind and a confident day.